So today I'm going to be talking about Leaders Eat Last, which is a book by Simon Sinek. If you don't know Simon Sinek, he's a pretty awesome dude. He does a lot of TED Talks, and I love to watch him talk. He talks about millennials. I am a millennial. Maybe I'm a little biased towards him because he kind of takes a stand for millennials. I don't know. But this book I had to read for a class, and I was actually extremely happy I had to read it because I learned a lot of valuable information about being a leader. And if you don't know, I'm actually doing my master's for human resource management. So it kind of relates to one another, and this was super relevant. Basically, what Simon does is he looks at the 4 neurotransmitters, or 4 of the most crucial neurotransmitters. You have serotonin, oxytocin, I can't say it, dopamine, and cortisol. So dopamine and cortisol would be like the negative emotions. Dopamine's instant gratification. You have cortisol, which has to do with stress. It's a fight or flight kind of response. And then serotonin and oxytocin. Whoo, boy, I can't pronounce things to save my life. Anyways, those are the 2 good ones that help facilitate bonds, create trust, loving relationships, and Simon basically talks about how to have a successful organization, to be a successful leader, you need to facilitate the trust and the bonds and help to have a fostering environment so that those chemicals are more abundant versus having a concentration on dopamine and cortisol. Wow, I'm losing my mind today. Oh my gosh. But anyways, so Simon basically talks about a lot of different case studies. He talks about Milgram's experiment, which if you don't know, it's essentially an experiment where you have a person, a scientist, and another person. The person here has no idea what's going on. The scientist and the other person do. So these 2, they know what's going on. This person gets shocked every time he answers a question wrong. Shocked. It's not an actual shock, but the person over here thinks it is. Then you have the scientist who is implementing the shock, and they very clearly detail, okay, this is what each shock is, this is how it affects someone, and they have it labeled like very dangerous, and they make it very clear to the person over here what each one stands for. And so that person has to give the go for the scientist to shock the person over here. And basically it was to see how people respond to authority. For example, the person over here says, okay, stop, this isn't right, this person's getting shocked. The scientist says, well, we have to continue this experiment. What happens next? How many people actually go the entire way to say you need to stop, or do you listen to authority? Well, consensus is people tend to listen to authority because what happens is they don't feel responsible. They say, that's not my fault, it's the scientist's fault for continuing on. Wasn't me. I didn't do it. I didn't implement it. I was just there. I was doing what I needed to do kind of thing. So it's very interesting. So he talks about situations like that. He talks about Jack Welch, who is I don't know what his correct term is, but Welch, he's known as Neutron Jack. He works for GE, and he fires the 10% of bottom performers, and it's super competitive, and he talks about how if you look at that organization compared to Costco, and Costco, Senegal, I think, was the leader there. So he compares Welsh and Costco's leader, Senegal. And Costco, if you don't know, pays their employees like $20 an hour or something. Definitely more than the minimum wage. It's very stable. It's a great fostering environment. They're friendly. You go there to create a career. You don't go there just to work. You create a career. And if you look at how the organizations have done over time, you see Costco's very steady. Meanwhile, Jack at GE is like this. It's all over the board. And, then the question is, why is GE so successful? Well, you have to consider dopamine. So dopamine's about instant gratification, and we are addicted to performance. So despite the fact that it's not stable, it's not something that's advantageous to us, we continue to go back because we're addicted to performance. So basically, Sinek takes all of these different things, he puts them together, and he makes his argument for creating a fostering environment. You want to develop trust. As a leader, you have to trust your people, and your people have to trust you. It has to be a two-way street. Otherwise, you're not going to be a successful leader. You are not living to your full potential. And that overall is the gist of it. It's just talking about how we overlook the chemical components and how they've developed over time and what they can do for us as leaders. And whenever we use that to our advantage and we foster environments which, promote those good neurotransmitters such as serotonin and oxytocin, who knows, then we're going to have a better, more trusting, cooperative, more productive work environment. So even though I did have to read this for school, I definitely recommend it. I'm glad I read it, and I'm going to find someone to give this book to because it deserves to be read by the world. But yeah, that's all I got for today.